What's up, everybody? Mike here, and in this video I'm going to be going over what is new in Spider-Man 2 because we just had a Sony State of Play that dropped some good amount of new chunk of details about this game coming out September 20th, and I want to go over that with you guys here, let you know what's going on. So let's jump into it. First with talking about instant switching, which has kind of been shown off before in other trailers. Basically, you know, we've played both Peter and Miles in their own games respectively, right, so far. But Marvel Spider-Man 2, these characters will be equally playable, with Insomniac allowing us to almost instantly switch between the characters anytime in open world. There's also going to be moments where you'll be in, like, cinematic scenes or, like, you know, switch between those. You'll have to switch between characters. So, and that's another dynamic way to where it adds more exciting gameplay and moments in the game. When it comes to switching the characters, or switching between them, I should say, think of it as something like GTA 5 switching mechanic. There are also specific missions for only Peter and ones only for Miles to further give each character their time to shine in the game, as well as giving players a more exciting experience. And then there's new locations. So the world map in Spider-Man 2 has been vastly enhanced with new locations to check out. It's more dense and has more fidelity to it, plus it's roughly double the size of the previous games. Fast travel is also instantaneous with the help of the PS5's SSD. The map in Spider-Man 2 will include 2 new boroughs to explore, which are Brooklyn and Queens. There's also Miles' School, Brooklyn Visions and Academy, and more locations to check out in the game. Side activities. So many of the same side activities from the previous games are coming back, but what's maybe more interesting is a bunch of new side activities are being added as well. There are Talon drones to chase through slipstreams, underground army, crates to discover, spider bots to find and retrieve, and so much more. Insomniac also says that several side missions will lead to showdowns with new villains who didn't make any appearance in the previous 2 games. That's exciting, right? Because, us as players, us as the gaming community, us as like fans of Spider-Man, we definitely want to take on more of Spider-Man's rogues gallery. Visual cues is a more important thing this time around. So Insomniac is making things in the world pop out more to players with better and enhanced visual cues to let players know what to do and when to do it. I never found this to be an issue in the previous 2 games, but I'm all for this feature being a bit more streamlined into the game. And then you got district progress systems, like where that has changed. So Insomniac is making changes to how you will progress through each individual district in its entirety. It seems that progress will now be tiered and will unlock new rewards at regular intervals as you progress through a district. An example of this is unlocking fast travel for each district being tied to your progress in each district. Next is combat changes. So some big changes here to how combat works in the game seem to be focused first on how gadgets and abilities work, with gadget and abilities being mapped to R1 and L1 respectively. And you can use one of 4 abilities or gadgets using the face buttons. This is a great change because now they are available to you at a moment's notice rather than having to open up a radial wheel to switch between what to use and all of them running on cooldowns. Parry! Oh my goodness. This makes so much sense to add into Spider-Man 2. A parry mechanic. So, another new combat mechanic Marvel Spider-Man 2 is introducing is parrying. Although not every attack can be parried, there are some attacks, that have to be basically, but not all. These attacks are highlighted with a small yellow circle and require you to press the L1 button with precise timing to not only block an enemy attack, but also stagger an enemy attacking you, leaving them vulnerable for a follow-up attack. Now, that vulnerability is temporary, though. I can't wait to use this parry against bosses, mini bosses, and other kinds of enemies in the game. Like, this is just going to be fantastic. I love parry mechanics in video games. Enemy variety is going to be more dense and more better in this game, too. So Marvel Spider-Man seems to want players to use the full range of abilities and gadgets available to Peter and Miles at an even better and higher degree due to more dense enemy types you will encounter in the game. This is a great thing, as the 2 previous games both seem to suffer from too many recycled enemy types, with some just being variations of other ones. This was annoying to me. In Spider-Man 2, you'll be dealing with Talon drones, hunters, and other enemies that use guns, knives, shoot electric nets at you, and more. One thing I'm hoping, though, that they can maybe better balance out is if they do have, like, armored enemies similar to what Sable's, like, mercenaries were, is make them more fun to fight, honestly. Because I don't know about you guys, but dealing with Sable's armies, or not army, but her mercenary crew or unit, whatever, it was just a pain. Puzzles. Like in the 2 previous games, puzzles will be mixed in Spider-Man 2 as a break from the action, and many new puzzles are being added to the game. Upgrades. So progression and upgrades are getting big improvements in Spider-Man 2. There are now 3 skill trees in the game, one for Peter, one for Miles, and the last one being a common skill tree for both characters. You'll be able to upgrade their innate abilities such as combat, stealth, and traversal, but also their gadgets as well, and their suits in the skill tree. Speaking of suits, we got more suits. So it was confirmed by Insomniac that there are over 65 suits for Peter and Miles in the game at launch. So many of them inspired by comics and movies, but there's going to be some that are originals too, made by the studio. Not only that, but each suit will have multiple variants supporting alternate color shaders. In total, there are over 200 suit variants in Marvel Spider-Man 2. There are 10 suits sadly locked to the deluxe edition of the game, so just bear that in mind that 10 of those 65, you gotta get the deluxe version of the game or upgrade to it, I guess, at some point. Graphics modes. So Marvel Spider-Man 2 will have 3 graphics modes, with all of them rendering at dynamic resolution, either at 30 FPS, 40 FPS, and 60 FPS. To top it off, ray tracing will be enabled in all 3 modes as a baseline. So that wraps it up for the new details and what's new in Spider-Man 2. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below, because I'd love to hear from you guys. This is shaping up to be really good, a big improvement overall across the board, in this game than in previous games. I'm hoping that there's more, better balance and frequency between boss fights, because especially in Spider-Man 1, from what I remember, I gotta go check this with Miles Morales as well too, but boss fights seem to be very few in between. There's an early couple boss fights in the first game with, Kingpin and Shocker, and then you don't get next boss fights till kind of later in the game, late game, when you essentially take on the Insidious 6. And you get maybe a few, with doing side missions basically. And those are very few in between those. So I'm hoping the pacing's better with the boss fights, as well as the storytelling and other things that are going on in the game. That's all for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this and found this helpful to you. Please drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.